Hello and welcome to The Fog, everyone. This is Red Stain Radio, a Dead by Daylight podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Bryson, and I'm joined by Stevie.
Hello.
And Maddie.
Hello.
Bun could not make it tonight, but we have a full discussion ahead of you. Thank you all for being here. How's everyone doing? I know for me, I'm surviving a heat wave here in the Midwest, but how are you guys?
Oh gosh, yeah, the heat wave just kills your brain. I'm exhausted from moving, so we're all we're in it right now. Still feeling it.
Here it's also pretty hot, too hot, honestly. I like it being cold, but not too cold, if you know what I mean. And I've just been getting ready for my surgery coming up soon. So yeah, nothing much besides that.
Oh my gosh.
So this is episode 2. We'll be covering the anniversary event and the year 10 roadmap. But first, we have some housekeeping to cover. We'd love to hear from you. If you're a listener, send us in questions, comments, or feedback by sending us an email at redstainradio@gmail.com. We've gotten one listener question, actually a couple, which we'll be covering throughout this episode. Thank you so much for bringing that in.
We really appreciate it. Please send us your feedback and your questions.
You can also stay up to date on the latest episodes by following us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We'll be posting there. Shorts on YouTube, TikToks, of course, and Instagram Reels. You can also follow us in those places and leave us a review or a comment on the podcast platform of your choice. And thank you so much for listening. As we mentioned, this is our anniversary and our roadmap up to year 10 kind of discussion, speculation episodes and kind of like wish list episodes are probably going to be my favorite discussions. I'm so very excited to jump into here. Yeah. I just love speculating. I love creating wish lists for what we want in the future. And so we'll be covering the anniversary, kind of our thoughts on this year's anniversary, because it is the last year for the Masquerade, and they're going to be doing something new next year. But we also want to talk about what chapters are going to be coming in the future, and we want to kind of speculate on those. We kind of already have some teases based on that PAX East, or that, I think it was, or Gamescom. I don't remember which it was.
PAX East, yeah.
PAX East, yeah.
Their little teaser there. So we'll kind of get into it. Happy 9 years to DVD. It's
birthday.
It's kind of crazy. We're recording this on the Tuesday after the event has started. And this is the last year for Twist Masquerade. Behavior mentioned they're doing something completely new next year. But just kind of top level stuff. Maddie, I'll start with you. What do you think of the anniversary this year? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, overall, I really like it because I really like the last one. But if you didn't really like the last one, you probably won't like this one as much because it's basically a copy paste from last year, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. They brought back stuff I love, like I like making the fake palettes, but also you have to deal with the stuff with like killer breaking palettes with mine or the remote hook, and it can get a little irritating at times. But thankfully, you can always just leave that queue. But overall, I'm happy that the event is back. I love the cakes or the pies, as they're called this year.
Yeah.
And
a little different.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, but I am a little sad that it's going to be changing next year. But I'm also kind of grateful because some of these abilities have got to go. I'm sorry. They've got to go.
Stevie, what do you think?
I mean, I have a soft spot for this current iteration of it because the anniversary just keeps getting better and better every year. What was it, the 4th or 5th anniversary is when they just started adding things to the actual game itself, like the in-game events, stuff you couldn't really avoid while playing. But now that they have the separate queue, you can toggle off the remote hooks if it's really such a problem. You can play normal mode. Queues are just as bad, but
yeah,
I like how
swingy
it gets. Like maps can be a palette fest if survivors are allowed to just kind of farm and generate all of their anniversary tokens and then just spend them all as they rotate around the map easily. Then the map's crazy hard for survivors to lose. It's full of palettes, and if a killer kind of gets their first anniversary thing, snowballs it, then their abilities kind of snowball it. It's super swingy. And it's a really weird way to play the game where every match just goes faster, if that makes sense. Where because survivors are so strong in chase with how many pallets they get in quiet mode, it's harder to start a chase. They can slam gens in the background. And because killer kind of gets their buffs to, easy downs, they can destroy a god pallet with their mind without even thinking about it. They can remote hook the guy who was 2-hooked anyway for no reason. They can do their own thing, whatever they want. They can speed up the game. And this kind of adds to the point that, like, you're farming blood points more efficiently if the games go fast. But nobody likes fast games of Dead by Daylight. Everyone wants to sit around and enjoy themselves and play every part of their build and see every piece of the map. They don't want to have to deal with the nurse who's just camping the corner of Cepho Pit. You know, it's different. But this anniversary games are really swingy. It's different.
Yeah, I'd say I'm in a mixed bag kind of situation. I love Anniversary. I love the invitations. I love the vibes and the event, like cards that have different status effects. And some of them have worked in my favor in games, and some have not. And because they can definitely turn the sway of the game depending on what comes up. And yeah, the invitations for survivors, you know, those abilities I think are okay. And then for killers, they're very good. You know, Endurance Stun is fine, but a remote hook, which I just dub as Bluetooth hook, and
Bingo.
And what is the other one? Oh, remote break a pallet can feel oppressive at times. You know, that's less time the killer's wasting, and like we mentioned in the previous episodes. DBD is all about a time game, so that can feel very oppressive, especially if you're playing a very strong killer like Nurse or the Ghoul or maybe Blight. And I've been seeing a lot of Vecnas lately because of the buff. But yeah, but at the same time, like, I love the BP. I love the Screech Pies. I'm so close to P100 Xeno. I'm on P90, so I hopefully get her to P100 very, very soon. Very excited. My first P100 killer. But yeah, I'm a mixed bag overall. I'm kind of glad they're kind of sunsetting this. I'm excited to see what they do for year 10.
It's interesting. I'm excited to see what they name it, because they've used Twisted Masquerade as their moniker for probably at least 7 years. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting that they've used Twisted Masquerade as the name, but they've changed it. Every year it's something different. And now that they feel like they're ready to grow out of it, I don't know. Like, what does DVD Year X have ready? I don't know.
Resident Evil free, baby. Let's go.
There you go.
There's some speculation, which we'll get into a little later. But yeah, you're totally right. It'd be interesting to see what they do. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't really have any ideas, but I'm sure it'll be great nonetheless. In addition to year 9 for DVD, the anniversary, we have... Just last week, we covered a new Steam concurrent player peak, all-time high. That's been broken again. And this is kind of a combination of things. Anniversary, Five Nights at Freddy's, and the Steam Summer Sale all hit on kind of one day, a Thursday. And now, according to SteamDB, the new concurrent highest all-time peak is 120,717. That's amazing. It's just kind of like a perfect storm for DVD right now. Like, I've seen ads on Discord. I've seen it on my Reddit thread. Like, just not even from the DVD disc or subreddit. Like, just generally in my thread. I've seen it on other storefronts.
The
it's
advertising
everywhere.
tendrils.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I saw the one for Dead by Daylight on Discord where you could get, like, the Steam banner for... Not the Steam banner, but the Dead by Daylight banner for Screenshot. Visceral
I think single-handedly that was actually a better advertisement for Discord quests. That got more people to click on the quests tab than anything else
I've never
Discord
clicked
has
a
ever
quest
done.
before in my life.
Yeah, like, as soon as I saw it, I clicked it. I was like, I need this.
The first time you click quests was if you're a DVD or FNAF fan who was into the other.
Exactly.
So true. And then in addition to some of the anniversary, we have some kind of adjustments that were from the 9.0 update, kind of some adjustments and tweaks based on bugs and the AFK Crow system. So I've not seen any issues with AFK Crow since. They increased the intervals in which they are gained. They reduced the rate at which AFK points accumulate. Do we like these changes? I've not had any issues actually since these changes, and I've not seen a lot of complaints from the community. What do you all think?
I think what I said last week is kind of holding true. People are getting used to it. If somebody played in a way that, would get these new crows on their back, they are going to quickly learn how to avoid that. It's going to feel natural after like a week of playing with it, what is going to give you a crow and what's not. If they're going to make it more lenient, hey, that's the dev's choice. If they want to do it, go for it. But it should get comfortable for everyone.
Yeah, with my experience so far, it's been pretty alright. I haven't had any crows randomly appear on me when I'm hiding from the killer or doing something that isn't a generator or healing. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah, totally agree. We also have animatronic fixes and tweaks. No more invisibility when leaving a door. I have seen no issues with this, other than I do have one very egregious clip of this after the update, which I actually want to share with some folks because it's insane how long he was invisible when he came out the door. So this isn't quite fixed all the way. I think the majority of it is done, but it was mainly with the Matthew Lillard skin. So maybe just something with that is bugged. And then they adjusted some score events for the killer and survivor, specifically the animatronic. I think increased the score events for those, both for survivor and the killer. Yeah, that's about it for anniversary. Does anyone have any kind of closing thoughts or ideas before we move on to year 10 roadmap speculation?
Honestly, I think we just need to nerf the pig again, honestly. Like,
She deserves it.
overpowered.
Yeah, nerf the pig behavior if you're listening. We don't like pig. I went against pig
we love
earlier
Pig.
today.
We just think she's too strong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we need to
very
nerf
strong.
Pig.
Now, if people disagree, I think she's strong, but
I actually
pig
don't mind
mains.
pig. I don't
She's
mind
great.
pig. I will boop the snoot anytime it's requested.
Yes.
no,
Cool.
no. It's never requested. You have to.
Oh, okay.
You have to say it's booping time. You have to say we turn the match off now.
Let's get into year 10 roadmap speculation. We're going to be essentially going through the usual graphic they put up on the screen when they reveal the roadmap. We're going to be walking through that, the events, the chapters. We're probably not going to talk about the tomes just because we really don't know anything about those. I know we have some community winner things that we're going to be coming out through the next couple tomes. People are really clamoring for the Ghost dredge skin and the sable, like witchy kind of wispy skirt skin. Wonderful cosmetics. I'm looking forward to those, but they'll be coming in future rifts, and they'll be on the free side, so you don't even have to pay for it. But let's jump into July. We're in July now, recording on July 1st. We have two licensed survivors coming. This is mid-chapter. And they apparently teased this chapter in the PAX East presentation. If you've not seen this, if you look at the graphic that they present, you can see that there are certain letters that are kind of grayed out almost. And essentially, if you take all the letters and put them next to each other, it spells out the ones who live. And if you're unfamiliar, this is a Walking Dead spinoff that covers Rick and Michonne. So a lot of people are sure that it's Rick Michonne. But Maddie, I'll throw it to you first. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think it's probably The Walking Dead. I don't think it could be anything else. People have been clamoring for The Walking Dead ever since the game came out as a paragraph or a licensed chapter. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Rick and Michonne because those are, like, the two most popular. I could totally see, like, a legendary skin that changes Rick to, the hillbilly guy whose name I totally forgot.
Daryl.
Yes, thank you. It could be Daryl Dixon. That's his last name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there could also be a skin that makes it so you could be Laurel or whatever her name was, the wife of Rick as well. But yeah, it just feels like it's too obvious to not be it.
Stevie, any thoughts?
I'm really excited for it because it's not like the classic Walking Dead. This is specifically the ones who live. It's their little spin-off show.
Yeah.
Where Rick and Michonne are kind of like they're lovers who are thrust into this new changing world that has already kind of grappled with the post-apocalypse. So you have these two characters who are genuine survivors, you know? That they are the ones who live. That's just synonymous with survivor. It makes sense that you would take the most grizzled version of a character and throw them in the worst hell they could be in. I'm curious if the spin-off ends with them dying, you know? Like, if this is The Walking Dead, do the killers have to, or do the survivors have to be dead to enter the fog? I mean, Nick Cage is alive, so fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
Let's not kill real people so they can be in the fog, please.
Yeah, if we can have characters who are still alive in canon, that's a fun way to break the mold. But I think they're a great fit. If we see legendary skins, Rick into Carl, I don't know.
Oh my gosh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Is that a spoiler?
Yeah. Actually, I should put a spoiler tag in front of that.
Get a
I'm
good
so
bleep
sorry.
over it.
Yeah, I'll bleep over that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Has anyone here seen The Ones Who Live?
I
No.
watched the trailer.
Okay.
Trailer, and I kind of was into it, and then I flipped my shit. I was like, oh my god, is that John Locke from Lost? in My Walking Dead?
It is.
I'm gonna have to watch it, and I'm gonna have to get the girls to watch it. Because they're watching Lost right now, and they're gonna love that.
Yeah.
Oh, Lost is great. Although the ending is not great.
Of course not.
I'll end it there. Maddie, you said you haven't seen it?
Yeah, no, I have not seen that show at all. I've seen the original Walking Dead. I loved it. Me and my friend watched it. We read, like, the original comics on the bus to school. It was such a phenomenon. And then, it kind of started getting bad, and then no one really talked about it for a while. And now there's kind of, like,
yeah.
a resurgence. Not, like, as popular as it was before, but, like, some people are being like, hey, it's Rick from that one zombie show. Carl.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the first few episodes of The Ones Who Live. My partner is a huge Walking Dead fan. I asked him actually recently if he would jump into DVD with me if there is a Walking Dead collab, and he immediately said yes. That is not even a question you have to ask. So I'm very excited that I hope this is it. I love The Walking Dead, or at least I love the first handful of seasons, primarily the prison arc. I think the governor is a really cool villain. I think after that, it really takes a downturn. And I think there are certain aspects within those first middle seasons that are really interesting. I think The Ones Who Live, I fell off of. I had some issues with what they did with Rick. I won't spoil anything here, but highly recommend just kind of looking into that. But also just watch The Walking Dead. I think that show is just really phenomenal. The first 4 to 5 seasons probably, but it really takes a downturn. They went way too off the rails with it. It just falls off from the comics. But yeah, I'm really hoping it's Rick and Michonne. I love both those characters a lot. I love Rick as a character. He's very much a survivor, but he's also very brutal and very much a killer himself. And he's very kind of morally gray a lot of the times. Of course, it is an apocalypse and everyone is morally gray, but he is truly, I think, walks that line really well. But he's also very passionate about the ones he cares about. Very, very excited to have him in The Walking Dead. I really hope he has Andrew Lincoln's look
Likeness?
because, his likeness. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word.
Okay.
Because Andrew Lincoln to me is Rick Grimes. He embodies that character so well. And despite not enjoying The Ones Who Live, he is still that character through and through throughout that show. So, yeah, very much looking forward to this. In addition to this chapter, this kind of mid-chapter with 2 only licensed survivors, we have a modifier. What do we think this is? I actually have some speculation that this might be tied to this mid-chapter release. Maybe it's like a zombie kind of chapter where, players have to infect other players. That'd be kind of cool, and there is no killer. That would be kind of interesting. I don't know. Stevie, do you have any thoughts or wants? Do you want Lights Out again? Do you want Chaos Shuffle again? What are you looking for in another modifier?
I have a feeling they're going to throw Chaos Shuffle at us again.
Please don't. Please don't.
I have a feeling it's probably just their, best-selling modifier. As far as things go, they probably like the way it, boosts numbers for a little bit, and also doesn't really impact the queue times as much, because you take something like 2v8 and you throw it into the game, and it's a little more desired. It has to be kind of a thing that the game is focused around for a bit. It has to be okay, 2v8 is the main thing going on with the game. Chaos Shuffle can just be the modifier for the month. Oh, we're just bringing it back. Oh, you remember it, but you don't have to play it. Lights Out, I think they're too scared to bring it back. I don't think it got good enough reception.
It's miserable.
Chaos Shuffle is the only thing they could reasonably just throw out every 3 months and just say, "Oh, it's a modifier. It's a modifier."
Yeah, I love modifiers.
And it's I just want the Chaos Shuffle. I just want a perk button that's Chaos Shuffle, And I think that would delete the
Yeah.
fact that Chaos Shuffle could be a thing people enjoy, is if the people who actually got a kick out of it got their fun in regular queue, just hitting random perk, random perk, random perk, random perk. Or
Yeah.
like adrenaline, random perk, random perk, random perk. That'd be fun, you know?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I do hope if Chaos Shuffle does return, they really make it chaotic, and I would like items and offerings to be random as well.
Ooh.
And I would like a killer toggle button to randomly select your character, your killer.
Ooh.
I think I don't think that should be a requirement. I think you should be able to toggle that.
Yeah,
toggle
you already
that on
turned
and
off MMR behind the scenes for an event like
yeah,
Chaos Shuffle.
so I think being able to put that on player side and say, hey, I want my killer to be random as well, that'd be awesome. And then just randomize this based on the killers you own. But yeah, there's been so much Chaos Shuffle lately, I'm a little burnt out on it. So the only way I really wanted to see it come back is if it's changed. But that's my opinion. What do you think, Maddie?
Honestly, I don't think it's gonna be Chaos Shuffle just because we had it so recently, and I don't remember if we had 2v8 between the last time we had Chaos Shuffle and now. So I'm thinking it could either be a totally new modifier, which I hope it is, or I could see it being like Lights Out again. Personally, I think it's going to be a new modifier. Specifically, I feel like it's going to have a lot of Nemesis zombies or something similar, because if you're going to have the Walking Dead, you've got to have zombies.
Oh my god. You might be
Yeah,
onto
they
something.
could just. I would imagine they just create kind of new models for the zombies and maybe make them Walking Dead themed, potentially.
Yeah, I could also just see them using 50 Nancys and 50... Oh, I can't use Nancy, that's a survivor name. Like 50 Lindas and 50 Johns all over
Yeah.
the map, and you have to do a generator without getting bit, or you die, or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I also don't think they would put the modifier on the roadmap if it was going to be Lights Out, or excuse me, not Lights Out, Chaos Shuffle, just because that's a modifier we've already had. I don't know. This is me speculating. I don't know. I don't know if putting Lights Out on there, just saying modifier, is worthy.
It's
like
hard
I
to
figure that.
speculate.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
easy to speculate on what the licensed Survivor duo pack could be because they said they teased it, and there's like
Yeah.
one show that lines up with the teaser that was evident. It's easy to speculate.
You'll never know. You'll never
We'll never know. We'll never know. We could be wrong.
Yeah,
New
we could be wrong.
Survivors coming out. It's Wanda Cosmo, Fairy Odd Parents.
Oh
It's
my
over.
god!
You know, let's speculate.
DBD's not a horror game anymore. I'm done. Podcast's over. No, I'm kidding. But no, Wanda and Cosmo would be amazing. There
For,
was
for everyone's sake, though, let's not have Chaos
Let's
Shuffle.
not add Wanda
Yeah.
Cosmo.
Let's not add Wanda Cosmo. Let's not have it come with the Chaos Shuffle.
Okay, that moves us to August. 2v8 returns. Awesome. This is the iteration that will allow us to queue. Will allow killers to queue. Will allow killers to play while they queue. So you load into Survivor match. It holds your place while you're playing, and then when you load out your Survivor match, you can keep playing. This is a much needed change. Killer queue times for 2v8 have been atrocious. They've been very, very long. Some people even have another game open in the side just to play while they wait. That's great. Do we want any? Are there any additional changes you guys might want? Stevie, I'll start with you.
2v8's not really my jam. I'll play with friends. Don't get me wrong. That's where I think it shines. But I'm not going to queue up solo killer. I'm not going to even queue up 2v8 killer. I don't even have an interest. Playing Survivor 2v8 is really fun for me because it's looping two killers. That's where the juice.
Oh, yes.
That's where the juice is. It's really like I know that the Deathslinger's nearby, but I have to make the hillbilly whiff just so I can get out. And then if they decide to team up, it's over. It's whatever. But it's the juice just for that second where I feel it. Feel the adrenaline where I dodged two people with one swing. I'm a god. I have 7 people working on generators right now, and I look over and 3 people are on chests, 2 people are on hooks, 1 person's on the ground. It's 2v8. There's nothing you can do about 7 people doing whatever they want.
Oh god, it's chaotic. It's chaotic.
It's more chaos than Chaos Shuffle,
It is.
but it's my jam when I have friends to play with it. That's
And Maddie?
it's my survive with friends.
Maddie?
Me personally, I love 2v8. I've always wanted it as a game mode ever since people started being like, yo, what if there were 2 killers and 8 survivors? So I was really hyped for it to come back. I'm always hyped for it to come back. However, I do feel like there needs to be changes specifically for survivor gameplay. I feel like the novelty itself is good enough for killer because there's so many different combinations that you can do. Like Legion and Oni, that was a really annoying one, but it was really
Yeah.
strong. But with Survivor, like the only thing they did recently that I can remember was the herbs, and then in the last iteration they took that away. So
Yeah.
it's just there's not a lot for survivors to do, and I feel like they need to add a lot of unique stuff for Survivor to make it more appealing, which would also help with the queue times. Like I don't know, maybe make it so there's unique items that aren't just reskinned items from past events, or maybe make it so survivors could like temporarily become a copy of the killer, or like really crazy concepts for classes like what if you could turn into an item or like an object and like do prop hunt for 10 seconds or something? I don't know.
Oh,
Two
that'd be
v8
cool.
prop hunt. That would give me to
That'd be
play
amazing.
solo queue. I'm gonna be real. I don't think I would have more fun other than like smack. It's that fire barrel is a Jane. Found her. There she is. Yeah.
Prop
would
hunt
have
would
so
be a
much
cool
fun.
modifier or mode in general, I think. But yeah, 2v8 definitely needs some survivor shakeup. It was great the first couple iterations, and now it's getting a little stale. Definitely need more classes, need more gameplay changes. Like, we have totems and chests that spawn on the map. I mean, they don't do anything. Like, once they're open, and once totems are spent, they're spent. But the totems are just there. They're not doing anything. So I think we need a killer class for hexes. We need a boon class for survivors. I think we need something with items or chest related.
spitting.
And then I think we also need pickups. Like, I think like spawn just random, like make it, I don't know, Mario Kart and shit. Like, let people and killers pick up different things that power you up. Maybe they give you haste, or maybe they give you, I don't know, undetectable for a while. I know there's classes that give you that, but I think you could really, really shake up this mode, because I don't want this to be a meta class selection. Like, I want this to be an arcade mode, and that's how it should be. And it is very unbalanced, and it should be. Yes, we had Oni, and that he was kind of broken in that mode, but gens go so fast in that mode. I'm okay with that. I do think he needs nerfed a little bit, but he's fun to play. He zooms around and he gets a lot of value out of everyone being injured. So yeah, they definitely got to shake it up. Also, Maddie, I know you added this. They did tease a new item that's going to be coming. This may be coming in August. August would be the tail end of that. It also may be coming with the July chapter. We're not really sure. Do we have any thoughts about what it might be? I have no clue what this would be.
I have an idea, and I'm really sad to see it because I'm like 90% sure it's going to be the smoke bomb from
yeah.
the Halloween event and that one time in 2v8, just because they've used it so much and people do like it, which is a kind of a bummer because it's like a one-time thing. It's like flashbang. I feel like it should be a perk instead.
That's what I was about to say. It seems like it would be better suited for a perk, because we already have flashbang, wiretap, chem trap.
Yeah. However, the optimistic part of me is thinking that maybe, just maybe, we could get like an item that could be like a flare or some kind of weapon for survivors that would have like a pretty big drawback. Like maybe when you're holding it, you're really slow. But if you hit the killer, you can stun them. Obviously, that'd be broken. Don't do that. But I feel like they can maybe add something that's a bit more offensive to survivors. Because so far, all the items except for, I want to say, flashlights are defensive or trying to recuperate. Like maybe Sabo toolboxes, if you want to count that. But besides that and flashlights, there's not a lot of offensive options. And survivors shouldn't have too many. It'd be nice if there was an
Key offensive.
Yeah. The best offense. Wait, the best defense is the best offense. I think that's how it goes.
Stevie, any ideas from you?
I was pretty sure it was gonna be a Void Crystal type smoke bomb. But if they want to do something new, or if they had an idea cooking that's finally ready, I'm happy to see it. I was excited when they very much said, "Oh, we might be touching up maps and keys." Then that got pushed to the side. I think it is just medkits and flashlights are the only thing that exist right now. Toolboxes, it's weird, right? Toolboxes, all they do is gens. Sabo is Sabo it could happen with or without an item, but like healing yourself really fast by yourself can't really happen without an item. Flashlight saving from the killer can't really happen without a flashlight or, flashbang. So if they did a new item, I could see it coming in tandem with its own perk. You know what I mean? Like, because they've kind of gone over everything. They've made pharmacy, they've made residual manifest, they've made a way to get each item from a perk. But if they make a new perk or a new item, a new item has to come with its own perk at some point down the line. I'd be curious to see if it was like Rick Grimes and his new flare drop ability.
Yeah!
Blind the killer over 2 seconds if they stare at the thing you throw on the ground or whatever. That might be unique. But a smoke bomb, and then it just comes with like, oh, green rarity, last 2 seconds. Oh,
gosh.
Blue rarity, last 3 seconds. Oh, wow.
How original.
I love green pieces.
Yeah, I hope it is not a fog / void crystal or smoke bomb or whatever. I really think that should be I know we got it in the Halloween event a couple years ago. It's moved to 2v8, which they added a 2v8. One, you barely found them, and two, like they didn't really do a whole lot. And you could just find them in chests. Like how boring. Like why is that not a class? I don't understand. But yeah, I hope it's not in. I hope that's not the item. I kind of hope it's just like Rick's revolver and you can kill the killer.
That's what everyone wants. I want gun.
I want the ability to kill the killer, kind of like in Friday the 13th, where you had the ability to kill Jason. Yes, it was convoluted and it took a lot of coordination, but it was cool. I think fun should outweigh balance in some ways, but
long range stun.
Yeah,
gun.
But yeah, you mentioned the flare. That's a cool idea. Thematically, if it does come with the Walking Dead chapter, I don't know. I don't recall Rick or Michonne using flares on that much. Maybe it's in The Ones Who Live. Like I said, I didn't finish that show.
I have no idea.
So I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, very interested to see what they do with that. And then we go into September, where we'll get an original Killer and Survivor chapter. No map. They have said this is South Asian inspired, but it is not Japanese. We have several Japanese chapters already, and a lot of people were concerned with this. And this kind of comes in with a question. So we got a question from Christopher. Thank you so much for sending in your question, Christopher. He asked us a few questions. A couple we're actually going to be turning into full-on chapters, full-on episodes, which I guess you could consider them chapters. But we're going to cover two of your questions in this format. You asked, what do you think the Asian folklore for the next real chapter will be? And we have a couple ideas. So, Manny, I'll actually let you start off with your suggestion.
Okay, so my prediction, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation for this mythological creature, but it is called a manananagal. I think that's how you say it, and it's from Filipino folklore, and it's kind of like a vampire, except for the main difference being that it can remove its upper half of its body from its bottom half. And pretty gross, so trigger warning if you don't want to hear anything really gross. But what it does is that it goes and finds sleeping pregnant women and eats their babies. Very gross.
Oh my
very
gosh.
gruesome. But the one weakness of this creature is that if you spray, I think, salt or any kind of like spice on the lower half, it will hurt it. So I could definitely see this being a killer that it can separate its top half, and it could be like you are the projectile, kind of like snug, and it could be very powerful. But there could be like salt shakers or like salt pouches around the map, and you can ring it and put it on her lower half to stun her overpowered for some time. I could probably see that being a thing. And another reason why I think it's going to be the Manananagal is because one of the quotes for this chapter is that it's going to be very gory and the most gruesome chapter yet. And I don't know about you, but a killer splitting in half with all their intestines and stuff and eating babies in their folklore, I could definitely see this being a thing.
Yeah, this sounds intense and something I will be terrified to see if it is the case, because it sounds terrifying.
Yes, very. But that is my guess.
Yeah, and then Bud and I also thought it was going to be maybe. I did some research over the weekend, looked into it. The Mananagal is the one of them that came up, but the other one I thought maybe sounded interesting, which Bud agreed, was the Krasu. And this is essentially a floating head of a woman with like dangling organs and intestines beneath her. It is from Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Indonesia, Malaysia, etc. There's some many other many iterations of this, but it is originally from Thailand folklore, and it sounds kind of terrifying. Like that's regardless of the killer, is probably going to be some kind of level of body horror, right? It's going to be gory, it's going to be gross and bloody, and DBD's kind of gotten a little more bloody and gory over the years with Mori's Singularity, for example. You know, peeling off the skin of the survivor with the bubble acid stuff. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what this is. I think regardless of the direction they take, I'm really excited. And original chapters, as much as I love licensed chapters, original chapters are some of my favorite. Behavior gets very unique with them. I thought Houndmaster was really, really cool. Looking very much excited to see what they do with the South Asian folklore killer.
Yes.
Steven, do you have any thoughts?
I'm really, I don't know at all. I was fully on the wagon that it was gonna be a spider type killer at some point.
Oh yeah.
And then when they, dropped the pizzeria map, there was an arcade cabinet that had the Jorogumo on it. And I was like, boom, that's it. That's the teaser. It's over. So I was riding that train for a little while. But I definitely think they're not doing that anymore. Off of one tweet they made when they replied to someone asking if they would do a spider type killer, and they outright said no, it would hit too many people's arachnophobia. We don't want to do that anymore.
Which I have some pushback on that, considering what we already have in the game.
Oh yeah,
we'll turn that into a full.
Definitely, you can cite it as like a contradiction, but I think it is them learning. I think it is them learning in a direction that they want to keep the game comfortable for people. It is horror, but we want to explore horror. We don't want to be horrified.
Yeah, and I'll also add. This could also pave the way for more accessibility options. Mini games have included arachnophobia filters. What is it? Grounded is a big one. You know, the one where you get shrunk down. It's like a survival crafting game, like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of thing. There's an arachnophobia filter in that where it essentially turns the spiders into like blobs. Definitely could pave the way for that, and pave the way for maybe accessibility options for people who are afraid of clowns, can't handle vomiting, and some other kind of phobias that are kind of present already in the game. So, yeah, that's kind of a concept I have for a future episode, so I won't go deep into it. But, yeah, I definitely have some pushback on that comment. But, yeah, I totally I was hoping for a spider killer, but regardless, I'm looking forward to it as well. We're also going to get a modifier again. We won't harp on this too much. Maddie, you said it might be Lights Out. I don't want Lights Out ever again. I think we'll only see Lights Out again in private custom matches because they said they're going to add modifiers to those. But, yeah, I don't know if you all have anything else to add here.
Not much, no.
It could be Lights Out. It could be Shuffle. I think they're doing one or the other at the beginning and end of the year. I think we'll have to deal with both at some point.
Behavior, please. Just all F4 Lights Out, please. Just get rid of it.
Oh.
Anyway, back to the roadmap. In October, we're going to have the Halloween event. They've done the Void kind of section for Halloween 2 times now. I'm assuming they're going to do it a 3rd time. The only thing I would want in the new Halloween event is to change the colors. I think blue is just kind of weird, and I know blue is the Deep Rift, but like I kind of miss the orangey, when you could smash pumpkins and like get certain buffs or debuffs from those that I loved. But I think just the vibes, the whole aesthetic needs to be altered a bit. I don't expect them to change it based on, the Void outfits and cosmetics they've come out with. And they probably already have all those assets set for a while, but I'd love to see a change in aesthetics. But what do you think, Maddie?
Honestly, I agree. I don't want blue anymore. Blue is my favorite color. I love blue. I don't think it fits Halloween though. Like I think there's a place for it, but like when I think of Halloween, I think purple, green, orange, black, not blue. So I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
hope they change that. And also, my controversial opinion: I hate the Void. I hate all the Void stuff.
Oh,
At
wow.
first, I loved it. I thought it was cool, and then they just kind of did it again. And I was like, okay, this is getting kind of boring. I want something different.
Hmm.
I want something new. Like Dead by Daylight is the horror game. The Hollow Blight event, that was perfect. That was amazing. Where you could get the free Hollow Blight, whatever it was called, for the killers. I love that. That was my favorite
Yeah.
event ever. And now it's blue.
Oh no. Stevie, your thoughts?
Bring Hallowed Blight. I do wish they bring it back, but every year they seem to drip feed us like another good skin with it. It was kind of like their little teaser for their favorite pet project to release the Blight himself. So if they
Yeah.
did that again, or like, oh, this Halloween we're teasing a new character,
Ooh.
or maybe it's when it coincides with another thing that they had planned. So I want no more blue. I want cool cosmetics. I want to return to all the other old fun stuff. But if it's voids again, we're gonna have to see everyone goofing off in the fuck off dimension.
So goofy.
Please. I don't want
I do think the void needs adjusted a bit. I think it's a little unbalanced. I can't put my thought entirely. I haven't thought about the void in so long, so I can't remember entirely how it plays out. But I just remember it being last year, just
Right.
like certain instances where I was like frustrated with how it worked.
Last year had a different tile than the year previously, and I think that this way that they're doing it, where like the first year it was kind of like, okay, you hit the void rift and then you're in like one discrete tile, and maybe you do like a loop on this goofy TL wall and then you leave or you die. Have fun. But then they changed it to here is a whole playground. It is essentially a strong main building that is consistent in every single map, and it can be a skill check for people who are just starting to play, where it's like, oh, where did all the survivors go? And they're like camping all the strong loops that they already remember in this
Yeah.
perfect main building that doesn't exist next to any gens or objectives. So you can pull the killer away perfectly for a long time. And I think if they returned back to you just enter a random set of loops, or it's not a perfectly stacked main building, it's now kind of just a random generation of the void tiles, I think that would be a lot funner. Rather than you have one set zone with all these weird geometry pieces that they're trying to test out.
Yeah, also alternatively, I don't know if the game engine could handle this. Dead by Daylight might explode if they did. But what if, when you're depositing the void energy, instead of opening a portal to a new area, part of that map becomes connected to the base map you're on? It would be awful to balance and stuff, but like, imagine you're
Oh.
on RPD, you deposit the last void energy to open the portal, instead of opening it to a little TP to go to the other part of the map, it merges into the normal map for, say, like, 40 seconds. And like, the main shack, or the main building of that area, is changed into that rift area.
That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
You take
But
these
yeah,
rift tiles and you hide them somewhere on the map, but then they overlay and delete the old tile for a bit.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yes.
But yeah,
Exactly.
the game would explode.
Yeah, I think
vision? Do you see the vision?
I think the code would just become even more spaghetti and
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Looking through a
100%.
camera off of Shack, and then the survivor deposits the last fragment, and then it shifts, and now Singularity's looking up Michaela's skirt, and it's over.
yeah, that's
Something
such a cool
happens.
idea though. But yeah, we'll probably see more of the void in October. Moving on to November, we have a pretty hefty chapter, one we don't get too often, License Killer and 2 Survivors. No map.
That's a big
but
chapter.
It is a very big chapter. We don't get these often. I think the only
Things
times
like
I've gotten these are Stranger Things and Resident Evil.
Both Resident
We got-
Evil chapters.
There's
Same
also
setup.
there's also the chapter that shall not be named. Cough cough, tools of torment.
Oh, right.
Is that slated to get...
Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome. Ah.
Everyone loves Skull Merchant, right? She's a killer with no abilities.
Sure, I love her.
Yeah, I wish
Yeah.
the people who liked her had a fun killer to play. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
The
same.
people who resonate with her aesthetic, I wish you all the best. I wish your favorite killer could be somebody else's favorite killer for different reasons. You
Yeah.
know, I wish
It
I wish
sucks.
more people could enjoy Skull Merchant. Is what I say.
They're working on it. We've seen a couple previews. We'll see what they do with those. But Maddie, you have a prediction. You think it's Predator. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, totally. I'm just trying to, because like when I was looking at the roadmap, I was trying to figure out what would make the most sense, but also what would be the most plausible for Dead by Daylight. Because like
Yeah.
at first I thought it was gonna be Stranger Things, but I thought that was unlikely, seeing how Netflix and Behavior don't have the strongest connection as say like Behavior and Chucky's license holder. So I was going over what could be possible, and I feel like almost all of it leads to Predator because there's, I think, a movie and a TV show coming out around the same time, and there's also a tease with the alien skin where it has one of the aliens from the Alien vs. Predator movie available, which
Yes,
is Grid.
Grid.
And that was
My
caused
favorite.
by a Yahtja's, which is the name of the Predator's species, nets. And I just feel like it makes a lot of sense. And the customizations for the Predator would go crazy.
Oh my
Because they
God,
could make their
so
own
good.
original one. They could do one based on the movies, the comics, the games. It would just be another alien. But instead of like creepy tunnel stabby with gameplay that people either love or hate, it could be like, what if Skull Merchant was good and fun to play against? Whoa.
Unironically, yeah, Skull Merchant should have been the Predator license and gotten all the
Yeah.
love of that.
Yeah, and for the survivors, I feel like they could introduce Arnold Schwarzenegger with the character from the first movie. And they could
Yes.
also introduce the main character from Prey, whose name I'm forgetting, but she could be the secondary survivor. I think that could be awesome, and it could show like the past of the Predator franchise and the future of the Predator franchise, which, by the way, if you haven't seen the new TV show that came out like last month, go watch it. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, Killer of Killers. It's a movie. It's a 3-part anthology series, but they all play into one another. If you haven't seen it, it is very, very good. It's on Hulu or Disney Plus, depending on where you live. It's very good. It is in a similar animation style as Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix, which if you haven't seen that either, highly recommend it. Yeah, my primary prediction is also Predator. Killer of Killers was very good. In November, there's another Predator movie. Predator Badlands comes out by the director who did Prey, Dan Trachtenberg. I'm super excited. I really hope it's Predator. We have Alien already. We're definitely going to get Predator eventually. The only thing I have reservations about is there is a little other asymmetrical game called Predator Badlands, or not Predator Badlands, Predator Hunting Grounds. That game doesn't really get content updates other than cosmetics, and I'm not really sure how the license is wrapped up in that. I don't know if they have exclusivity. I bet they don't, just based on what I think Disney would do. I don't think they would put all their eggs in a basket for that game. I know that game is not got a huge player base. It launched exclusively on Epic Games Store and PlayStation, which didn't do it a whole lot of service. And then the Predator queue times for that game were just astronomically high. Like I played it the day one, and it took me forever to get into a Predator game. So, not sure what the situation is there, but yeah, I'm totally with you, Maddie. The Yachtja would be such a cool killer. I don't think they would call it the Predator. That just sounds weird.
Yeah, that does
Especially,
sound pretty weird.
yeah, it sounds a little creepy. I think we already have the Predator in the form of Freddy Krueger. I'm sorry if you like Freddy Krueger, but it's accurate. He likes little kids. If you've not seen the movie, go see the movie Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. Anyway, plus we already have the Xenomorph. They didn't call it the Alien, so they'd be very technical with this. Although there's some argument to be made that they should have, but that's a different discussion. And yeah, I'm totally with you. I think it also should be Naru is the character you were thinking from Prey.
Yes, that's her name.
And
Thank you.
Dutch is Arnold Schwarzenegger's character.
Oh, thank you.
So
Oh, if they
yeah,
had Dutch and then Dylan, oh my god, that would be so fun.
that would be cool.
Dylan, son of a bitch.
I also think Naru would be, and the two survivor thing is kind of what trips me up to think that this might not be a Predator chapter. I think Naru kind of has become the poster child for this series. They are going to make a Prey sequel. They've already announced, so we can expect to see that character again. She's also Native American, which I think is a severe kind of representation we need in DVD. I don't think we have any of that. I'm not familiar with most of the lore of the survivors, but I don't think we have any Native American representation, both killer and survivor side. Am I wrong? Does anyone know?
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I don't
some
believe
people.
any of them are.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I think that would be a great representation. Naru would be an awesome inclusion, and Dutch would just be kind of a badass, beefy boy to add to the roster. So,
yes.
my other guess is Stranger Things. Yes, Netflix. It's also Buns. They also thought it was Stranger Things. I could see them doing a Stranger Things chapter. We really don't know what their relationship with Netflix is. The reason I think Netflix pulled Stranger Things the first time was because Netflix wanted to do their own gaming division.
Oh,
and I think
100%.
we've seen that. Yeah, and I think we've seen that kind of die a little bit. Yes, they are acquiring some studios here and there. They're opening their own stuff. But I just don't think it's getting off the ground as they'd like. So the collaborations are kind of important. Of course, Stranger Things Season 5, if you're familiar, is releasing in November. And then there's a bit of a stagger release. Half of Season 5 is November 5th. The rest of the season is in December on Christmas. And then the season finale is on New Year's Eve. What a dumb way to release a TV
they're really
show.
dragging this out.
Yeah, I'm just like, we waited almost 5 years for this, or 3 or 4 years for this last chapter, or this last season. It's been too long. But
Yeah.
Vecna would be a really cool killer. You know, he would be the Vecna, which I think is hilarious that we already have Vecna.
Exactly.
Stranger Things Vecna alongside.
Yeah, Stranger Things
Dead
Vecna,
by
which would be
Daylight.
Will the
cool.
girls
And then I would
fight?
love to see, what was that?
Will the girls fight? Would Vecna fight?
Yeah, would they?
No.
I mean, they would. That conversation would be very interesting. I can't wait to see the memes for that. But I would love to see Jopper, although that's their ship name.
Ship name?
Yeah, Hopper and Joyce. Chopper, that's so funny. I would love to see Hopper and Joyce. I love Hopper as a character. And Joyce, Winona Ryder and David Harbour are just wonderful human beings.
Yes.
To see them in the DVD would be phenomenal. I would throw any amount of money towards
And
that
it
as
was
well.
kind of like round out the first Stranger Things DLC they did, as if they got like season 1 characters in, and like
Yes. I could also totally see them adding skins, like legendary skins, to turn Hopper and Joyce into like Eddie and Robin.
Oh yes, Eddie. Oh my gosh, yes. Give us
you could have
Robin,
Robin
Eddie
in the
too.
Scoops Ahoy, and you could have Steve in the Scoops Ahoy.
Exactly.
Oh,
More-
yes.
And then
more
you
Ahoy.
could be the killer who's like, "There are these goddamn e-dating Swift in my lobby. Matching Scoops Ahoy skins."
The Scoops Ahoy
That'd be
outfit
so
is
fun.
iconic.
I'd be so
It
into
is
it.
so iconic.
It'd be so good. So I really kind of hope there's a Stranger Things chapter. We'll see. And then my kind of third prediction, which is not really a third prediction, but I know some people are thinking, and they did mention we should do more with those people, Resident Evil and Silent Hill specifically, during the PAX East event. Resident Evil, I think, is a good possibility. We're getting RE9 early next year.
Yes.
There are a lot of killer options. My only issue with the Resident Evil third chapter is it would be a third chapter, which I'm not clamoring for. But I also don't know who the 2 survivors would be. We already have a lot of legendaries. We have 4 original. And I don't think Ethan Winters is an interesting or good survivor to choose. Wouldn't even know what his face looks like. And I don't think his daughter is all that compelling. I've not played the DLC where you play as her, but I just have no interest in that family. And I just don't know who else they bring in. But on the killer side, the options are almost endless.
Yes. Like, survivor-wise, like, the only ones I can think of are, like, some of the really old characters from, like, 0 or 2, and, like, most people don't really know who they are. Maybe some of the survivors from that one, Escape from Raccoon City, I think that game was called. That's not what it's called, but it's the one where the mother is the mother... It's the one with the character who's the mother of the protagonist of Resident
Outbreak?
Evil 9. Yes.
Outbreak,
thank
I think,
you,
yes.
thank you. So I could totally see that happening. But I could also see them maybe doing Ethan. The only problem is they never want to show his face. They want him to be sort of someone that
Yeah.
everyone can relate to. So giving him a face would make him more independent. So that's why I don't think it would be Ethan. And also, I'm sorry, Mia. Hell no. I do not like Mia. This is Mia slander gang right here. Do not add Mia. And Rose is okay. Like, she's not bad, but character-wise, she's kind of mid. Killer-wise, though, yeah, 100%. I could totally see Lady Dimitrescu, Mother Miranda, that one guy with the giant metal axe. I'm so sorry, I forgot his name.
Same.
And they could also add the father from Resident Evil 7, or the mother. They could add Evelyn, kind of. Probably not, since she's a kid.
Very
and I don't think
solid
they want to add
killers.
kids.
Like those are feel like very good choices. Like even as someone who hasn't like played many Resident Evils, I'm like, what are they missing, right? If we were to keep adding Resident Evil till the fucking end of the world, how far until it gets bad, right? How many good options do we still have left?
And also, how much Resident Evil do you have to add to DVD before it becomes another Resident Evil game?
Bingo.
Ooh.
How much
That's
Fire
why
Emblem is in Smash Bros. Until it's a Fire Emblem game?
Yeah, that's a great analogy. Like that's the big reason I don't want another Resident Evil chapter. I think we have enough content. We have a ton of skins. We had a 2v8 theme. I love Resident
Licensed
Evil.
Killer
I
and Two
do,
Survivor
but
speculation out of the left field. It's gonna be Scooby Doo chapter. We're gonna get
Let's
Shaggy,
go.
Norville, Rogers, Velma Dinkley, new killer, Captain Cutler's ghost. It's gonna be a great time. That's my.
Scooby Doo.
We already have Shaggy. Let's add the rest of the gang.
Yeah, we
Yes.
get some Matthew Lillards, baby.
Let's go. Oh, give me a Scooby Doo charm, please. Please, 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 please.
Yes.
Oh, like the little diamond SD. Oh my god.
Oh,
hold
yes,
on.
right?
It's
It'd
over.
be so good. And then that also brings us to Christopher, one of your questions. Thank you for sending us an email with questions. You can also send us questions, listeners, those of you who aren't Christopher, or Christopher, if you want to send us more questions, go for it. You can send us questions at redstainradio@gmail.com. Christopher asks, do you think Supernatural will work for DVD? Sam and Dean Winchester are my most wanted survivors, and I want to hear your thoughts. I have never seen Supernatural. Well, I've seen some episodes of Supernatural. My mother is a hardcore Supernatural fan. I know there's like 16 plus seasons. That's a big reason why I haven't watched it. There's just so much of it.
Yeah.
But I absolutely think, based on what I've seen and heard, I think they would absolutely be great survivors. I don't know what the killer would be. I'm not familiar with the franchise. But Stevie or Maddie, do either of you have any experience with Supernatural or familiar with it?
I'm a Tumblr girly, so I'm kind of forced more by proximity.
Yeah, you might have the most osmosis here. I am afraid I don't. I wasn't the super side of the
Tumblr.
the super Hulock. One
Yeah,
would
I was
say.
not part of Super Who-Lock, but I did like a bit of Doctor Who, so it was kind of inevitable. But I do think Sam and Dean Winchester would be pretty good, just because like them as characters, they pretty much do always survive because they're always hunting supernatural stuff, and their whole past of like surviving a demon, I think it was. Totally very cool. Totally makes sense for the Ever Survivors. Like if Vermont of Rivia can join, so can Sam and Dean Winchester. And I'm so ready for the memes of the angel guy being like, I love you. And then one of the brothers being like, we just got added to Dead by Daylight. What are you talking about?
And then type shit. Perfect meme format.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, not much else to add.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you maybe knew any killer options, but I'm assuming no.
It's kind of like Killer of the Week with that show. Like each episode's like a different monster. I think there's recurring villains, but like not any that I could think of off the top of my head. But I also haven't seen the show super much. I've seen like the first season. So yeah, my thought process says it could be probably any of them, but for people to know them, probably none of them. It'd probably just be like the one coming up this month where it's just the two survivors.
Yeah.
I think we're disappointing Christopher by not
Sorry.
knowing our game.
Christopher, when Supernatural does come to DVD eventually, and I'm saying this because I think they will eventually, I will do my homework and watch Supernatural all however many seasons. It'll be a project, but the whole podcast will do it, I'm sure.
Yes.
I do
yeah,
think it'll make good e-dating material. You have Sam and Dean, and then they're the two of them. I know that they're together. They coordinated their names. It's how it goes.
They're twins! No.
Are they twins or are they just brothers?
They're twins. They're
twins.
Like,
Oh,
they're
okay.
twins. But like it's the
Okay.
survive with friends, the dating couple who's like, oh, let's match. Let's both play our favorite show.
That's crazy.
No,
That's
no,
crazy.
no.
Yeah, but Christopher,
That's how
I
it
hope you
goes.
eventually get Sam and Dean in the game because dream chapters are always fun when they come true. And then in November, rounding out November, which I think leads into December a bit, we're getting our 2v8 returning again. That'll be the second time in the year. We've already kind of touched on that, but we'll see what they do in the future with that. Yeah. And then December, we have the winter in-game event. Do we have any wishes or hopes for this? For myself, the only ask I have is to bring the original snowmen back. I don't like the ugly-looking, scary ones. I don't like that they move on their own. I think it's just kind of weird and goofy.
Too. I like
Yeah,
the
they
big...
like just look bad. Yeah, those are the ones I want. The ones that are happy and like silly, goofy looking. The ones that look like they were put together by a toddler. Just
Yes.
I don't want those.
Yeah, Bun actually mentioned this, and I agree with them. Is that I would like to see a more silly or more chaotic game mode. Like,
Yes.
what if there was an actual snowball fight? I think they mentioned. Instead of just like doing gens, you have to like hit the killer with 50 snowballs, and to kill survivors as the killer, you need to hit them with snowballs. Rah! It's very much
Yeah.
like dodgeball. Come on, let's have some whimsy,
that'd be
especially
so
for the
good.
Christmas season.
Yes. Stevie, any thoughts?
I could see that. We turn it into like we reverse the cat versus mouse. Survivors have to bully the killer with snowballs for like 5 minutes, and the killer has to like go run and hide and do gens somewhere. Go activate things to actually kill the survivors. That'd be backwards. I'd love that. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
the right place for the event, but snowballs are getting a little stale on their own. I wish there was more to do other than just target practice on the snowmen.
Yeah, agreed.
And they shouldn't be scary. It's fun to be like, I'm just getting stared at by these silly guys. The jump scare snowmen really, I don't know. Maybe they got to me. Maybe I was scared. Shut up. Maybe they were too scary.
Yeah, sometimes they got me. And the fact that they moved on their own, you could tell if someone was in it or not, was annoying. So,
Yeah.
I got really
Yeah.
good at
Where's the surprise?
faking being the AI.
oh no. Okay, that brings us to March, the following year, 2026. We're going to get a new Survivor and a realm. This will be the first time this is happening, a Survivor and a new realm that comes with
An
it.
original chapter too, so it's going to be
Yeah.
all in Behavior's hands. Just give us something we like.
Behavior said fans will love the new realm. No killer, but the one killer will receive major changes. A developer said we'll put a major twist on them. Maddie, do you want to elaborate on this a bit? I don't recall this myself.
Oh yeah, they mentioned it during the PAX East stream when they were going over the roadmap. And personally, for me, this is probably the chapter I'm most hyped for. That and the two survivors and the killers, because I don't know. But this one seems the most interesting because normally when they do a chapter, it's always a killer. This is, I think, the first chapter ever where they're not releasing a killer that they normally would, but instead we're getting this
With
new
a
survivor.
realm and everything.
I know, it's super interesting. And also something else they said is that this new survivor is going to be a lore character and lore fans are going to love it. So I was already thinking, ooh, who could this be? And I have a couple of predictions. So for the survivor, I think it's probably going to be Saku Nakano. I think is that how you say her name. She's a samurai. She shows up a couple times in the tomes. And she was kind of like buddies with Maurice when she was exploring the realm. And she was like in this one
Buddies
world where she was falling off like...
Maurice. Lucky.
Yeah, her and Maurice were like this close, and like she like used him as her transportation basically. And it was during like when Maurice went missing the first time that she was introduced, and like one time she went to like this realm where there was like a bunch of robots that kind of looked like animatronics. I remember people being like FNAF confirmed, and this was like 2 years before FNAF actually came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally think it's gonna be Saku Nakano. That's the one I would be the most interested in. But I could also see it being Hattie's brother, only because he's been mentioned twice in two survivors' backstories, that being Tori and, of course, Hattie. The one survivor that I want the most, who I know won't happen, but I would love if he appeared, is the Observer, just because we know
Yes.
so much about him. He's been with us since the beginning of the tomes, and I feel like if they were going to add him, now would be a perfect time in this time slot, especially before the 10th year anniversary. So I really hope he gets added, especially since tomes are kind of getting like taken away with the new Rift Pass, which I have so many thoughts on. That's probably going to be an episode on its own, but I have so many things to say. Anyways, for the realm, I'm 99% sure it's going to be based on one of the two killers who didn't get a map, or one of the three killers who didn't get a map when they were remaking the maps to be more up to date visually. So this would be Twins, Blight, and Trickster. And of these three, I don't think it's going to be Twins, only because their kind of aesthetic fits really good into like the Red Woods, I think it's called, where it has Huntress and the Plague. So I could always see them doing a different map or in that realm.
It's
but not
definitely
a
like
new
supposed to be
realm.
like the European foresty, like
Yeah.
older rustic to like ancient style. So that would fit Twins perfectly if she got a red forest map.
Exactly.
That
Like
would
I
be
can
cool
imagine
for
being
sure.
like a tiny little village that you get to run around in. But for me, I think it's either going to be a city or it's going to be like a library, and that would tie to either Blight or Trickster, respectively. I feel like it's probably going to be leaning more towards Trickster because we kind of already have a library-esque one with the Eyrie of Crows with the main building, and I feel like a lot of people have wanted a city map for a while now. And Trickster, I'm sorry to say this, people, I feel like Trickster more is popular. Like, play rate, Light is beating Trickster every day, all day. But, like, I feel like more people know who Trickster is than Blight, and I feel like a city map
Really?
can go very fucking hard.
Who,
Yes.
who they are like thematically, you know what I mean? You look at Trickster,
Yeah.
you skim his bio, and you're like, okay, I got it. He went crazy with power and money, and he was, hidden by his public image, and he was able to do crazy crimes. That's why he's crazy.
The Joker.
But the Jonkler.
The Joker.
Blight is very similar, but like you don't get that from him. You don't get that he's like a man twisted by his striving for torturing others and experimenting and perfecting his craft. And I mean, they're basically doing the same thing, right? They're one's making music using screams, and the other one's making drugs using plants and screams.
And look at where one of them ended up now. One of them's a drug addict. Sorry,
Hey.
Blight. Oh, what?
And he's passed it on to others, hasn't he?
The other one's a scream addict. So
Yeah.
what's more sustainable?
Yeah.
So do we think Trickster will be a city map, or do we think it'll be a concert stadium map?
Ooh, I think it's going to be more so towards a city, but how I imagine it is that it could also be like a dual thing, kind of like the Freddy Fazbear map, where it's sitting on the
Yeah.
outside, but then there's like a warehouse with a stage and like equipment. It could show like what Trickster was doing behind the scenes if you
We
like
get
look
like a
around every
studio
room.
map,
And-
yeah, where you like vault a broken glass window into the recording
Oh,
booth
yeah.
and then like run out the fire
Yes.
exit.
Exactly.
They already have the
And-
kind of the assets for that a little bit with RPD.
Exactly. And I just want to add really quick my final prediction: who the killer is going to be receiving the major twist. It's a tie between three. One of them being the Trickster, who I mentioned already, Twins, who I already mentioned, but the one who I think is the most likely is Skull Merchant, just because they're already talking about how they want to change her. She's been reworked twice. She's very hated among the community. If anyone really needs a rework that puts a major twist on them, I feel like it's going to be her. But Trickster and Twins are also pretty unpopular power-wise. Like, I feel like a lot of people play Trickster and know who he is, but he's not very fun to play against, pretty simple to play as. Twins are a mess. Remember their launch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my predictions. How about you, Bryson and Stevie? What are your predictions for March?
I personally don't have any for this one. I am down for all of these. I would love the Observer, but I genuinely am cool with any original content they come out with. I love the original stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it.
It really is that for me too. I'm so hard to think that far out and like come up with something concrete. As far as like realms that are missing, like aesthetically, a city is totally ideal, but if they save that for like something specific, it would take too long for like something to show up. So I think them kind of using this as like an excuse to just like flex their chops, make a new realm, say it's done, maybe we add to it, maybe we don't. I think Withered Isles was like one of their big successes with that, where they just kind of did what they wanted to do by making like a new age realm. Even if the map kind of blew, they really went back to it, and they really just said, "Oh, we're going to use this. We're actually going to make use out of the new realm." I think this is giving them a lot more to breathe, because they can't really add any more maps to the previous realms. I think things like Macmillan Estate are succinct. You can't really add more than Skull Merchant's Hut to it. I don't think you could do the same to the Coldwind Farm. Makes no sense to really add another structure or add another map entirely. Doesn't really make sense to do the same with Lambkin Swamp. You could. There's some space for another swamp map.
Swamp Beach
nobody
just
likes
needs
swamp.
rework.
Yeah, it's like the only map that's still ugly and old. Make it pretty. Make it pretty.
So it's very much, there's a thematic space for an urban map that isn't rustic and kind of isolated. If you have one that's dense with like city infrastructure, like you have a garage you're running through or an alleyway, that scratches an itch. You know, people like the maps where you're running around something thematic, because we always imagine that, like, what if we were running through the corn from a killer? That only happens on corn map. What if we were running through alleyway? That only happens on alleyway map. So it's something we're missing, is a good urban space. And if that comes with a killer, or I'm sorry, if a survivor who's just any normal person, or maybe they're like a witch who's able to breach the fog, and they keep adding survivors who are able to kind of come and go, or who have a connection with the entity on their own. That would make sense to have like someone who's pulling the entity into a big city because of all this dense life.
Someone's like, let's summon the Eldritch God beyond our capability to understand. And they're like, oh no, our city, it's broken.
All well said. Well, that brings us to, in terms of content-wise, that brings us to the end of that. We're going to run through some quality of life improvements. I know we're kind of running a little long, but we're going to jump through some of these. Y'all are welcome to jump in anytime. So these are quality of life improvements coming from July to December. Anti-slugging, we're going to continue improvements there. Anti-tunneling, anti-camping. We don't really know what the systems are going to involve. So more to come there. There's going to be an MMR update. They're going to change the way MMR is balanced. So they're going to include, how long you loop a killer, or how many people you unhooked, or all that stuff. So that will also be included in MMR. And I hope MMR becomes a little more transparent, because right now it's kind of, you really don't know where your MMR stands. So I really would like to see MMR updated. This has been a pretty outdated system for a while. Any thoughts here?
Ooh,
Thank God. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The MMR system is...
I'm with you.
Most MMR systems, in my opinion, are dookie, because they take imaginary points and say, this person's better than this person because this person died and this person lived. For some cases, it works. But for Dead by Daylight, where there's so many things that have to be accounted for, killer powers, items, perks, it really shakes up the whole MMR thing. And I really feel like it needs to be fine-tuned and take these things into consideration.
It's interesting because it is so many variables that are hard to boil down into a number. But if they did something to it, sometimes MMR is too lenient. Sometimes it's just gonna throw baby survivors to a super knowledgeable killer because no one else is playing. Do we sacrifice queue times to just let someone play? And DBD's not a game where you're gaining ranked points. You don't have elo, so I think letting the system sacrifice game experience here and there to just give you a match, giving you a shitty Dead by Daylight match, it very much prefers, rather than giving you no match at all. And I think the only way to really fix that is make MMR actually matter by having a queue where it'll prioritize a strict MMR bracket. You could have something like that where your MMR is actually a number that shows up on your stats.deadbydaylight page. If you care enough to go look at the website and sign into your behavior account, we'll show you the number. We'll actually tell you you're at like 1896, get 104 more MMR points, and we'll let you into the big boy bracket, and you can queue for the 2,000 plus, thing, where you are taking the responsibility for having a match against people who are good. Or maybe you're a new player, and we actively lock your matches for a month or two to like that 1,000 bracket until you beat it. If we actually had like MMR as a ranking system in the background, it would make more sense than now, where it just kind of is evident that something's wrong. It's showing that, hey, my queue took too long and I got a shitty match. Dead by Daylight must not be in a good spot right now.
Yeah, very well said, especially for the new players.
Use the MMR for it to make a difference.
In addition to MMR update, we're going to be getting map and key balancing. We kind of alluded to this earlier. Maps will essentially be, I think they're going to work the way they've always worked, but in addition, there'll be like built-in windows of opportunity. There'll be a consumable. And then keys, they're going to balance keys out so I think they're more viable, and then they interact with chests. So maybe they instantly automatically open chests. That'd be cool. And they're going to be making changes to anti-cheat. I'm sure they're going to be improving that. Anti-cheat, I think DVD's anti-cheat is like a tissue paper, essentially. So that'd be nice to see some changes there. And then that was gameplay-wise. We're going to get into quality of life stuff. We don't know some of this stuff yet, but we'll kind of dive into some of it. More perk presets. We don't know what this is. I'm going to assume this is like presets for new survivors, and you can maybe select from, I don't know, maybe they have some pre-builds you can easily equip. I'm going to guess that's what that is. It kind of sounds like it. In addition, there's going to be keyboard and mouse support on consoles. It's kind of crazy to me that that's not on there yet, but it's coming. Custom game improvements. You're going to be able to enable modifiers and modes in custom games. Awesome. Love to hear that. I can't wait to play 2v8 with 9 of my other friends.
Oh my god, yeah. Get the whole Discord together.
Oh, yeah. It'd be amazing. Can't wait. There's going to be accessibility improvements. We don't really know what's involved with that. Prestige rewards. Long awaited and much asked prestige rewards. Thank God.
Yeah.
These have long been asked for. We don't know what this is going to include. I'm imagining badges and banners at the very least. My bar is very low for this, I'm going to be honest. I think badges and banners is all we get, because I think cosmetics are just too much for them. But if we do get cosmetics, I think maybe they will be like bloody versions, but like better. Like maybe they're gorier, or maybe they're just like visually more appealing. I don't know. What do you all think?
Yeah, how do you get some of those gory outfits even gorier?
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm hoping it's
bloody.
cosmetics.
Yeah.
What do you think, CV?
If it was all cosmetics, I'd be happy. But I doubt they will revisit a lot of killers and survivors and get every single one back up. If we get like a little iconic badge where it's like a picture of the logo from their license, or like a little symbol referring to an original character, I think that'll be fun, as long as like it's flashy. Because I still think that the current, like when they did add the new system and they did say, well, we are giving you charms for every one of your killers, you can have the perk icon equipped as a charm. That was fantastic. But I think it is time to add more than a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Give us like a, here's your 10, here's your badge, now go push for 100 before we give you the Alan Wake banner. You know?
Oh, yes, please.
It would make a lot of sense to limit it to like something like that.
What do you think, Maddie?
Honestly, the only prestige rewards I would expect are like badges and banners, like you said, but also maybe like I think it's purple. Please tell me I'm right. The very rare ones. Is it still purple?
Still purple.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I think so.
But
yeah.
I feel like they would do like one tier up from the bloody, where bloody is like that. It wouldn't have like any huge changes to the base skin, but maybe it would have like a pattern or something that like radiates, kind of similar to the really, really old skins they gave when the game first came out. To
Legacy.
Legacy, yeah.
Yeah, so like similar to Legacy, but very different. So maybe, oh God, I'm going to hate this. Instead of orange, it could be blue.
Oh God, please don't. I don't want blue.
Q100 blue killer,
But yeah, that's my only real expectation.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I only expect banners and badges. I know a lot of killers don't. A lot of killers and survivors don't have any banners or badges yet. Alan Wake is all I'm rocking lately, and then the Mycelian Dredge badge that just released in the Rift. I love, but yeah, I definitely want a Xeno one or one of Ripley or something for my mains for sure.
Oh, big time.
And then finally, We have reduced login steps. Don't know what that's going to involve. Before we jump out of this, I have kind of a broader question. I know we're running late, but we can quickly run through this. All of these quality of life updates in 1 year, they push back content for this. Kind of crazy. With the AFK Crow system and the Go Next penalties, that's kind of been kill switched and has yet to been reinstated. Do we think behavior's taking on too much this year? We have a lot of content coming. Is this too many quality of life changes? Do we think some of these things will be underbaked? I have fears of that, because just based on some things in the last update. But Maddie, I'll go with you first. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic. I'm going to be the angel on someone's shoulder today, not the devil. But seeing how successful this FNAF chapter is, because let's be honest here, FNAF is the most successful chapter now, I'd say, arguably.
Yeah.
Probably only being by Resident Evil, and that was because it was 2 chapters versus FNAF, which is just a killer. But I feel like they got a lot of revenue, a lot of goodwill from the community, so I feel like that gives them a lot of leeway and time to relax as they do smaller stuff when they prep up for the bigger stuff. So like, hey, we're going to reduce like the login steps, we're going to give you better prestige wards. And then between that, they're going to be like, hey, here's the Predator chapter / Alien chapter, whatever it's going to be. And then there's the original chapters, because this year we only have 1 licensed chapter, I believe, after FNAF, which is the 1 killer, 2 survivors. The rest is original. So that's no one they have to worry about trying to contact, being like, hey, is it okay if the killer can do this? Is it okay if the survivor can do that? Can we have them in this? Can we have them in that? So instead of having to worry it, because last year we had like 3 killers that were licensed, 3 chapters.
Yeah,
this year it's only 1. So I feel like that will also help let them relax, allow them to do their own thing, and get really locked in for year 10.
Yeah, well said. Stevie?
I think to me it doesn't feel like they're slowing down so much. So I'm totally confident they can keep up this level of stuff. With what they've got from the FNAF patch, they're gonna be cruising on new players coming in. They aren't gonna have to tease like, XYZ franchise coming out next. They're just gonna be able to drop their big bomb that they got and be so proud of it when it just splashes in the water of like a still summer of we don't know what the fuck is happening. But if they keep on with their quality of life, I think we're in a good shape, because focusing on too much new content just kind of adds more quality of life issues. It adds more spaghetti to the code. So I'm happy they went through with it, and to me, as a player, doesn't feel like they've slowed down on content. So if in the back they've really hit the brakes, it totally isn't affecting things on the other end. Everyone seems totally fed as far as content goes.
Totally agree. Yeah, I'm optimistic, just a little hesitant. So, cautiously optimistic. So, all well said. We'll get into miscellaneous, and then we'll be closing out the Grim Roar. This is the community voted chapter that we'll be releasing upon year 10 anniversary. It started Thursday and it closed yesterday. So if you haven't voted, I'm sorry you missed it, but it will be open again in 2 weeks, and it will reopen every 2 weeks. So we're going to be voting. Very excited. The first vote was just 2 votes on the killer and survivor concepts, kind of like their origins essentially, but very at a high level conceptual look. So don't worry, you can still vote in the future. It wasn't shared well, maybe 1 social post, and then there was a link in the game, but the link failed a few times, like the website crashed, so hopefully they fix that. That's it. That's the Grimoire. That will become opening up in 2 weeks. And that is the end of episode 2. Thank you, Christopher, for sending in your question. Like I said, we'll cover the other 2 questions in future episodes. You know what questions those are, since we didn't cover them here. Listeners, if you want to send in a question like Christopher did, you can email us at redstainradio@gmail.com. Ask us a question, send us a comment, ideas for discussions, feedback, whatever you'd like to do. We'd love to hear it. In the meantime, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the handle @redstainradio. We greatly appreciate you following and sharing the podcast on those platforms as well. Share with your friends and family. That always helps get new listeners. You're also welcome to leave us a review wherever you listen. I think Apple Podcasts, Spotify, support those, and maybe elsewhere. And we very much appreciate that as well. Thank you, Stevie and Maddie, for being here. Bun will be here next week. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you in the fog next week. Goodbye.
Thank you, Bryson. Goodbye, all.